Hello, this is my third time recording this video, so bear with me if I go a little quick. Today we're going to talk about the PBL Battle Math Assignment. It stands for Project-Based Learning. It's an assignment about the Battle of San Jacinto. Now, looking at this assignment, I want you to download the document and look at it. And you will see a little paragraph at the top. And it says, in studying the battle, you need to look at the people that participated in the battle. Since there was no one there keeping exact track of who was there, we are using diaries and approximation for our numbers. There were Native Americans and slaves that helped with this fight, but they were not written down, sadly enough. Solve the word problems using the pie graphs provided. The total number of soldiers that fought in the Battle of San Jacinto was 2,270. Now, here we have, if you look there, a little pie chart, where a smaller part represents the Texan soldiers, it's 931, and a larger portion represents the Mexican soldiers at 1,339. Your pie chart will look a little bit like this. We have an orange part here. That's 931 soldiers. And then we have a big blue part, which will represent the Mexican soldiers. Which represents 1,339. Yes. To a grand total of 2,270 soldiers. Texan, Mexican. Now, there's a table we have to fill out with the correct percentages. When we are finding a percentage, I want you to remember three letters. FDP. So, FDP stands for fraction to decimal to percentage. We are going from a fraction, turning that fraction to a decimal. We're turning that decimal to a percentage. Okay? Fraction to decimal to percentage. By fraction will be the number of Texas soldiers first, out of the total number of soldiers. And you can solve this using either long division or a calculator. Let me go get a calculator 1 second. Should have had this ready in the first place, but here we have a calculator where we will find 931 over 2,270. 931 divided by 2,270, like that. Enter. We find 0.4101. We stop there. 0.4101. It's actually, so you may wonder, to what decimal place do I stop? I would say you usually stop between 2 and 4 decimal places, because you really don't, it's not that important to go any further past that. I normally wouldn't go all the way to 4, but you'll see why I'm doing it in a second. 0.4101, right? So we want to go from decimal to percentage. So we're going to take my decimal I just found, which was 0.4101. We want to turn it to a percentage. To turn a decimal to a percentage, all you have to do, put a little 0 there just for niceness. All you have to do is move the decimal point over 2 spaces this way. And the arrows already tell you which way to go. That way. So 1, 2. Okay? To 41.01. And we'll get the percentage. 41.01%. I actually, to me, I always like to just go into 2 decimal places. I picked 4 earlier because when we move it like that, you'll wind up at 2 decimal places here. So that's what we did. So 41.01% of soldiers were Texan soldiers. And you'll put that in the first square of your little table, right? Now, we won't have to do the division again for a second number. Because a thing to understand about pie charts is every portion will ultimately add up to 100%. So if we take our Texan soldiers, whatever percentage of Texan soldiers, plus whatever percentage of Mexican soldiers, it will always total to 100%. Okay? And we already know that my Texan soldiers are 41.01%. Plus my Mexican soldiers will equal to 100%. And to find that last portion, we subtract the 41.01 to get the M on its own. We subtract the 2. You can either do it by hand or use a calculator. It's the weekend. I can't stop you from using a calculator. I would like for you to get the practice of subtraction by hand, but I'm a realist. 100 minus 41.01, 58.99. And there we get my final answer of 58.99%. So you'll put this 41.01% on one of them, 58.99. This is the Texas soldiers, and these are the Mexican soldiers. All right. So there you have it. Now let's flip it over and look at the second page and the other side of the document. Now there we're given another pie chart. We're given some data. 27% of Mexican soldiers were killed, 30% were taken prisoner. Let's see, what else does it say? Scrolling down. 1% of Mexican soldiers had escaped, 0% were killed, 1% were wounded, and 38% were unharmed Texan soldiers. And the question asks, after that battle, how many total soldiers were killed in the battle? Now, here, earlier, we went from fraction to decimal to percentage. But in this case, we're given percentages. So we have to go the other way. So we're starting with a percentage, 27%. And this tells me I'm going to go to decimal. And in the same way that these arrows told me where to move my decimal, move my decimals this way as well. And so that eventually we get 0.27 as my decimal. Now, when it comes to making this into a fraction, understand that we're going to find the number of soldiers killed divided by the total number of soldiers, 2,270. And that will equal 0.27. This is my fraction equal to a decimal. Okay? So my fraction is some missing number of soldiers who were killed over the 2,270 total soldiers who were in the battle. And that fraction will equal this decimal. So if we want to find k on its own, we have to get k by itself. Now currently k is being divided by 2,270. And to get the 2,270 away, we must perform the opposite operation, which is multiplication. Multiplication is the opposite of division, so we multiply on both sides. This will cancel, leaving only the k. So the number killed, that's k, equals 0.27 times 2,270. .27 times 2,270. Hit enter, and we get 612.9. Thing to know, you can't kill 9/10 of a soldier, so that 9/10 does not count. We're only considering the whole numbers. So we're going to leave off that 0.9. And we're left with 612 soldiers killed in the Battle of San Jacinto. It's a sad thing. But let's go on and see how many were taken prisoner. We simply perform the same math. In this case, we have 30%. So there's no need to reinvent the wheel. We know that ultimately what we did to find the number here, instead of killed, let's say it's taken prisoner out of 2,270, and we have 0.27 here. My 30% will become another decimal. Move that over 2 spots, and it becomes 0.3. So we do 0.3 divided by the 2,270, and that will give you the number of prisoners. Same method. Math is full of patterns like that. So 0.3 times 2,270, like so. Enter. We see it's exactly 681 soldiers. So 681 soldiers were taken prisoner, which is nice, and it's more than the ones killed. So 681 soldiers were taken prisoner out of the 2,270. Now question number 3. If you look at the number of soldiers that died during the battle, which was approximately 612, we found that number 1. And the fact the battle lasted only 15 minutes, how many people died per minute? It's a Grizzly statistic for sure. So, to look at this, we have the number of soldiers killed divided by soldiers killed per minute. That's what it wants to know. So soldiers killed per minute. And we know that is equal to 612 divided by 15. It's that many killed per minute. And there were 15 minutes. So you divide it, punch it in your calculator, and you'll see you'll get an answer of 40.8. So 40.8 soldiers per minute. Every 60 seconds, 40.8 young men died. And that's only of those counted. Remember, there were some slaves and Native Americans who fought in the battle as well, who weren't counted among the ranks, and we have no idea of how many of them who died. Terrible, terrible thing. This is a depressing activity. 40.8 soldiers every minute. Alright, so number 4. This is an easy one. It says, at the Battle of San Jacinto, approximately 2,270 people fought in the battle. If 681 Mexican soldiers suffered casualties, what percent is this? Well, the nice thing is, it gives us the percentage in the assignment. Directly underneath the pie chart, it says 27% were killed Mexican soldiers. So your answer is 27%. Easy peasy. 27%. Okay? Last one. Number 5. Some sources say that each of the Texas soldiers was supplied with only 36 cartridges. So let's say my soldiers, there with their gun, right? So there were 931 soldiers, and they were each given 36 cartridges. Now, we know they fired only 1/4 of their rounds. So that means we can break my 36 into 4 pieces. That's to say 36 divided by 4. And one of those pieces will be the total number of rounds that each soldier fired. So, and that will equal 9. So, if one soldier fires 9, 2 soldiers fire 18, 3 soldiers fire 27, we see we have a multiplication going on. So to find how many rounds all of them fire together, we can do 931 times 9. 931 soldiers times 9 rounds equals 8,379, which is my final answer. 8,379 bullets. Which, if you think about it, this isn't a question. I always like to go one step further. We know that 612 soldiers died. What that means, if you think about it, if there are that many rounds fired, divided by the 612, that means on average about 14 bullets were required to kill each soldier. We can imagine that only about 1 or 2 were needed to take someone down. There was just a lot of, they weren't very efficient, which is the one nice thing about this assignment, that it could have been a lot worse. So that's good that fewer people didn't die. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bit of a depressing activity that they've given us. I didn't make it, but it is what it is. Be sure you get the rest of the assignments in before Monday, or really before Sunday evening, because that's when I stop checking. I'm going to be uploading 3 other videos today. 2 of them are over the activity we did on Thursday and Friday, and one of them is what we did right before we left for Thanksgiving break. So if you're missing the probability review or the probability lesson, the experimental probability question with the simple and compound events, be looking out for those videos soon. I've already put up a video for the probability lesson assignment, so you'll see that. I'm going to try to put these all in one playlist so you can find them all, but if you're watching this video on its own, check out my channel and you'll find the other videos you need. Thank you, and you have a good day.